we actually make use of a high quality, high security chipset that is actually made by a company called Infineon. I might have it here. Yeah, you might see it here. Infineon today, they actually have this high quality chipset that actually have been adopted in the financial service industry, as in basically credit cards, Visa and MasterCard. Over 50% market share worldwide is using this technology. So within that, there's a really high security chipset, but there's also an NFC chipset for the communication protocol to connect with the actual app itself. Okay. Perhaps the traditional artists, once they have listed their item, whether it's a reprint or the original, they can also have a digital version where it becomes perhaps like the NFT version. It is similar to NFC, but one thing I want to the audience to understand is that a normal NFC doesn't have a lot of security embedded into it. It's just an NFC where you can use the NFC protocol. Normal, I think it's NTET 255, and then you actually write onto the small memory size, and you can write URL, you can write something URI into it, but it's not very safe. People can hack it. So that's not a very good solution by itself. But the NFC will still be a protocol where we can actually, maybe I can show. So this is an app, and then we can actually tap on it, and you can actually see, oh, it's coming up. So this is actually the painting of a real painting of swimmers. Right now, this one, it doesn't have the blockchain address or the hash, but this is where the magic is. We're going to integrate the Enecuum blockchain into our application, right? So that there will be transaction records in the blockchain. Absolutely. We are now already loading art galleries and artists. We ourselves have been in auctions through the OpenHeart. You can actually check it. It's actually openheart.hk. You can serve. You can actually find it on our Facebook. We have a lot of track record. We've been doing auction. So what we will start to load the art galleries and artists is to actually get them to try it. So what happened is we will actually already we are implementing it. We have a free class of service where they can enjoy the free certificate of authenticity, the QR code, and our application already generate the wall label for their own exhibition as well. These are all free. Plus, we will promote the artists and their artwork to the fundraising at the offline auctions, happening around everywhere right now. In the process, right, we are tracking all the physical painting with the digital ID now, right? So one of the key thing is if there is a digital version that it has been minted as an NFT, there is a linkage, and this is where we would like to, with ARTRACX, we will link it together. Now, but directly answer the question is yes, but there will be cases where there could be many different types of variation of a digital art, which is a variant of the original art. For example, in an art piece, they could be minted into 10 different versions, right, of digital version of the same physical art. So in that case, it could be different NFT, right? So the relationship would be like one to many, and in that sense, there will be a fractional ownership, that a model that we are trying to work out on algorithm on the smart contract to see how that would, how can you actually fractionalize the ownership of the physical painting. We are actually very global. We are thinking of setting up office in different areas, including perhaps in Vancouver, maybe Singapore, depends on where the market brings us. As you know, art itself can benefit from a lot of the free port. Hong Kong is a free port, and it's very relatively safe in terms of IP protections. Especially we're talking about protection of the copyright of the painting itself, right? So that's why servicing from at least from a Hong Kong perspective makes sense, but it does also make sense for us to actually bring to different markets in Europe and in North America, and definitely in South America, Latin America, we are interested in, because the whole business model for us is to have an ecosystem that serves living artists and usually for affordable art. We're not talking about, my business model is not to just serve the top tier galleries and auction house. It's rather to democratize the process, being decentralized and then transparent and then affordable. So we built in this kind of deal flows within the marketplace. That's our vision. Yeah, right now we are focused as a marketplace ourselves for physical art. Uh, we believe that with the roadmap working together with ENQ, there are actually, I recall that Ivan, that there were some projects that is related to cross-chain project with NFT, cross NFT in the protocol, kind of wrapping around it. So we are actually monitoring the market in NFTs where there are lots of opportunities. And definitely we are thinking that, that will be a bridge of some sort to different marketplace. There are already projects like this, so we'll be looking into working with companies that can execute them. Maybe I don't have to build it myself, and we just partner with. It could be another project that is in the pipeline of Trinity. We've seen so many projects, so really looking forward to it. The apps, we already have the apps in place. Let me share with you. I hope you can see it. So this is the no actually yeah home. So this is actually the apps that is right now. It's on my phone, on our DevOps phone. So we are working on it so that we can integrate the whole thing. So right now it's kind of all in different pieces, debugging. We try to iron out some of the user experience. Uh, and one of the key things that I forgot to mention is it's also right here on this side here, the AIS. We are one of the voting member of the Art International, sorry, it's called Art ID Standard Consortium. It's this Art ID standard is actually based on W3C DID, and then my DevOps is already working very hard to, first of all, register they call it DID resolver method. And then we're already registering onto it, meaning that very soon we can actually offer the MVP with a full end-to-end. That means there's the chipset, there's the blockchain, there's our back end, there's also following the DID standard. So when people actually use that DID, it's almost like a HTTP protocol where you can resolve and the host, the service endpoint will reply and say, yep, this is actually authenticated as an official piece. It has a unique ID. So this is what we're doing. We're looking at, to answer that question, we're looking at about August in Hong Kong. We will do press release, and we will also be booking a booth at the Affordable Art Fair Hong Kong, where we will actually be show and doing a lot of show and tell by that time in Hong Kong in physical events.